Sahih al-Bukhari 1981. Narrated Abu Huraira. My friend, the Prophet, advised me to observe three things: 1. To fast 3 days a month, 2. To pray 2 rakat of duha prayer, forenoon prayer, and 3. To pray witr before sleeping. Sahih al-Bukhari 1982. Narrated Anas. The Prophet paid a visit to Sulaym and she placed before him dates and ghee. The Prophet said, "Replace the ghee and dates in their respective containers, for I am fasting." Then he stood somewhere in her house and offered an optional prayer, and then he invoked good on Sulaym and her family. Then Sulaym said, "O Allah's Messenger, I have a special request today." He said, "What is it?" She replied, "Please invoke for your servant Anas." So Allah's Messenger did not leave anything good in the world or the hereafter which he did not invoke Allah to bestow on me, and said, "O Allah, give him, i.e. Anas, property and children, and bless him. Thus I am one of the richest among the Ansar, and my daughter Umayna told me that when Al-Hajjaj came to Basra, more than 120 of my offspring had been buried." Sahih al-Bukhari 1983. Narrated Mutarif from Imran ibn Hussein. That the Prophet asked him, Imran, or asked a man, and Imran was listening, "O Abu so-and-so, have you fasted the last days of this month?" The narrator thought that he said, "The month of Ramadan." The man replied, "No, O Allah's Messenger." The Prophet said to him, "When you finish your fasting of Ramadan, fast 2 days in Shawwal." Through another series of narrators, Imran said, the Prophet said, "Have you fasted the last days of Shaban?" Sahih al-Bukhari 1984. Narrated Muhammad bin Abbas. I asked Jabir, "Did the Prophet forbid fasting on Fridays?" He replied, "Yes." Other narrators added, "If he intends to fast only that day." Sahih al-Bukhari 1985. Narrated Abu Huraira. I heard the Prophet saying, "None of you should fast on Friday unless he fasts a day before or after it." Sahih al-Bukhari 1986. Narrated Abu Ayyub from Juwariya bint al-Harith. The Prophet visited her, Juwariya, on a Friday, and she was fasting. He asked her, "Did you fast yesterday?" She said, "No." He said, "Do you intend to fast tomorrow?" She said, "No." He said, "Then break your fast." Through another series of narrators, Abu Ayyub is reported to have said, he ordered her and she broke her fast. Sahih al-Bukhari 1987. Narrated Alqamah. I asked Aisha, "Did Allah's Apostle used to choose some special days for fasting?" She replied, "No, but he used to be regular, constant, in his service of worshipping. Who amongst you can endure what Allah's Messenger used to endure?" Sahih al-Bukhari 1988. Narrated al-Fadl bint al-Harith. While the people were with me on the day of Arafat, they differed as to whether the Prophet was fasting or not. Some said that he was fasting, while others said that he was not fasting. So I sent to him a bowl full of milk while he was riding over his camel, and he drank it. Sahih al-Bukhari 1989. Narrated Maymuna. The people doubted whether the Prophet was fasting on the day of Arafat or not, so I sent milk while he was standing at Arafat. He drank it and the people were looking at him. Sahih al-Bukhari 1990. Narrated Abu Ubaid. The slave of Ibn Azza, I witnessed the ID with Umar bin al-Khattab, who said, "Allah's Messenger has forbidden people to fast on the day on which you break fasting, the fasts of Ramadan, and the day on which you eat the meat of your sacrifices, the first day of Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha."